Hello, my name is CPerry, and as part of the Principles of Human Performance Technology course, I would like to present my findings on Human Performance Technology, or HPT, and Instructional Design Tools for Effective Instruction. Today we're going to examine this topic by covering why this is an important topic, what is Human Performance Technology. I will provide a description of the HPT steps or phases, how HPT is currently applied in instructional design, or where we are, how HPT could be expanded in instructional design, where we could be, and then we will discuss further consideration or research of HPT in instructional design. Where do we go from here? Why is this important? As instructors, we should always strive to create effective and relevant instruction for our students. Integrating HPT processes with instructional design will provide designers with an effective tool that allows the designer to view the entire educational experience, then focus on a specific area of instruction in order to increase the impact of learning. How? How can HPT be used in instructional design to make learning more effective? How can HPT be integrated with instructional design? Well, before I can answer those questions, I have to give you the definition of HPT so you know exactly what I am talking about. What is human performance technology? The actual definition is a systematic process for analyzing human performance by examining all elements involved in and influencing human performance. Whew, that is quite the definition. Let's see if I can clarify it. Human Performance Technology, or HPT, is a model of evaluation or a process of examination. What does it evaluate or examine? Human performance and all influential factors of human performance. So let's stop for a moment. HPT is a process of evaluation and examination of human performance and all influential factors of human performance. Let's break down these influential factors. That could be the performer, their skills, knowledge, or capabilities, the directions given to the performer, the tools provided to the performer, the policies governing the performance environment, even other people. Influential factors are anything impacting the performance. HPT is a process of evaluation or examination of human performance and all influential factors of human performance in order to improve human performance. HPT seeks to provide the best way to increase performance by examining the current performance, the desired performance, the location of the performance, the tools used, guidelines or policies, managers, and even communication between all the performers. This broad view of the performance process allows HPT practitioners to identify the factor or factors that will increase performance. This could be more training, better tools, environment improvements, improved communications, or more concise directions. How does HPT do this? According to Lyon and Linsbeck, the steps or phases of HPT are change management, analysis, design and development, implementation, and evaluation. There are many models of HPT, and organizations can select the model that best serves them. However, in order to select the best model, you have to understand each step of HPT. Change management. Change management refers to HPT practitioners gaining support for the HPT process from stakeholders. This could be the employees, the managers, or in the case of education, educational leaders, teachers, students, parents. Change management ensures all the players are aware of what is happening and support the process. Now, as we go through the steps of HPT, it is important to remember that sometimes these steps don't end. For example, change management. HPT practitioners will strive to get support at the beginning of the process, but throughout the entire process, they will work to maintain that support. Next, we have analysis. O'Driscoll stated in 2015, analysis provides the foundation for HPT, and it is conducted at the beginning of the process, prior to any intervention selection, and again prior to implementing the selected intervention. The analysis conducted at the beginning of the process is called the front-end analysis. It looks at the entire environment, people, directions, policies, current performance, desired performance. The analysis conducted prior to any intervention selection is done to make sure that the selection addresses performance issues and it is addressing what is required. After implementation, the analysis is ensuring that there have been behavioral changes and the selected intervention is actually improving performance. Now, Mager calls the difference between the current performance or behavior and the desired performance or behavior the performance discrepancy, deficiency, or gap. The performance gap is the target of improvement. This is why you are here. Our goal is to eliminate the difference between what or how it is accomplished and what or how it should be accomplished. This is why there's a call for more training and education. Without knowing this, without this information, you cannot effectively achieve your goal. The next step is design and development. During this phase, the intervention that will eliminate the identified performance gap is determined, designed, and developed. HPT practitioners will construct a list of possible actions and determine which one will best improve performance. Something to remember in this step: sometimes additional training or education is not the best solution. Sometimes it is a new tool, better support, or more concise directions. Using the HPT process, especially the analysis process, will help determine the best solution. The implementation phase. Once this intervention has been selected and designed and developed, it is then implemented. HPT does not end with this step. It is important to ensure the selected intervention remains effective. This is done through evaluation. The evaluation phase provides HPT practitioners with data and information on the impact of the implemented intervention. This impact is examined during implementation, immediately after implementation, and later to ensure the effectiveness of the intervention. That is the HPT process. This process is well known and practiced in the business world. This is a great tool for businesses, but you may be asking yourself, what does this have to do with education? How can HPT be used to increase instructional design effectiveness? Well, believe it or not, HPT practices are already used in many educational domains, such as learning science, instructional technology, and instructional design. But we're going to look at how HPT is used in instructional design. But first, let's make sure we're talking about the same thing. What is instructional design? Instructional design is defined by Mager, Knowles, and Reiser as the use of systematic procedures to design, develop, implement, evaluate, and manage the instructional processes and resources to improve learning and performance. Did you notice any of the same terms from the definition of the human performance technology process, like systematic, design, develop, implement, evaluate, improve, performance? Designers use instructional design to determine the scope of instruction, the method of instruction, the tools needed for the instruction, and even the instructional environment. Instructional designers must be aware of the influential factors on the learning process. Instructional designers must keep up with technological advances, learning theories, stay tuned with design theories, know the student demographics, understand and acknowledge the diversity of the learning environment. In other words, instructional designers need a way to take a broad view of the learning process. HPT practices provide instructional designers with a broad view of the learning process. HPT provides designers a way to identify all the influential elements impacting learning. Interesting statement, but how? That's an interesting statement, but how does HPT do this? HPT processes enable designers to view the learning process as a system. Designers using a systems approach first use the broad view to identify the factors influencing the learning experience. This could be the students, teachers, educational leaders, parents, resources, technologies, procedures, strategies, instructional design, learning theories. From the broad view of the learning process, the systems view allows designers to narrow the focus to the specific element impacting learning. Let's see how. HPT guides instructional designers through a front-end analysis. According to Fauché, the front-end analysis is the first step of HPT. This step allows instructional designers to examine the desired performance, knowledge, or skill, the current performance, knowledge, or skill, the learning environment, the learners, the current supports in place, and the instructors. This analysis provides the support or the need for instruction, but it also provides the information that informs the instructional designer what instruction is currently in place, what has changed, what should change, who are the learners, what do the learners know, what are their skills, who is the instructor, what is their skill or knowledge, what technology is in place. Why is this information important to the instructional designer? Well, in order to create effective instruction, designers must be aware of the learning landscape. For example, what instruction is currently in place? Has something changed or updated? Does the instruction need replaced or just altered? Is the current instruction unclear? What has changed? Is there newer information, an updated process, technological advances? Who are the learners? What do they know? What are their skills? This is the target audience. Instruction created for a third grade class is designed differently than a class of seventh graders. High school classes are designed differently than those for adults in the workplace. Once the designer understands who is the target audience, the designer learns what knowledge and skills the learners bring to the learning environment. This is important. In order to design instruction that presents opportunities to apply prior knowledge and skills to new information and construct learning, the designers have to know the prior knowledge and skills of the learners. Who is the instructor? What does the instructor know? What are the skills of the instructor? If the designer does not have this information, it is possible the new instruction is developed and it's outside the experience of the instructor. If the teacher does not understand the materials or have the skills being taught, the teacher cannot effectively teach the materials. What technology is in place? Designers must be aware of what is in place to support the material. It makes no sense to create instruction if the support for the instruction does not exist. Technology here means any instructional tools such as books, media, computers, but also infrastructure such as internet access or software programs. We shouldn't get hung up on the word technology. For example, if a designer created instruction on creating YouTube videos, the designer must be sure the classroom has sufficient number of computers, video making software, and internet access. Another example is a designer creates instruction on making macaroni and cheese from scratch. The designer must be sure the learning environment has the food supplies, a stovetop, and an oven. This is a topic that would be ineffective if presented in a traditional classroom. So far, the front-end analysis has provided the instructional designer with an array of information about the learning environment, the learning content, the learner, and even the instructor. With all this information, the instructional designer transitions to the next phase of HPT, design and development. During this phase, the instructional designer examines the data from the front-end analysis and begins to create the instruction, the instructional methods, and the needed instructional materials. Song and Kidd highlighted during this phase, instructional designer can consider changing the learning environment, incorporating technology and delivery methods. Instructional designers may create many instructional options. In order to select the best or the most effective instruction, the instructional designer will use analysis to determine the best instruction. So we've reached the point where most instructional designers stop using HPT. Currently, HPT is utilized to support the discovery of a performance gap, the desired performance, and the design of instruction. But if instructional designers continue to use HPT through the implementation of new instruction and evaluation of learners and the learning environment, instructional designers will be able to ensure the instruction remains effective, relevant, and meaningful. If we, as educators, commit to further utilization of HPT in instructional design, we will gain an effective method of evaluating our work and its impact. HPT is already used to provide instructional designers with information needed to create effective instruction, but continued use will enable us to evaluate any new instruction, learners' performance, and the new learning environment, and any behavioral changes in the learner after they leave the learning environment. Isn't this our goal as educators, to enact and ensure a change in behavior? How do we know if we have been successful? How do we know if the student has gained new skills, knowledge, or capabilities unless we continue to evaluate the learning process? Evaluation is an ongoing process in HPT. It closely resembles Knoll's description of Donald Kirkpatrick's 4 levels of evaluation. These 4 levels are different types of evaluation designed to measure the effectiveness of a program. Like HPT, Kirkpatrick's 4 levels of evaluation are better known throughout the corporate world, but it does have educational benefits. Kirkpatrick's 4 levels of evaluation proposes 4 different types of evaluation given at specific times for the purpose of measuring learning and providing feedback on the effectiveness of instruction. Level 1 is reaction evaluation. This evaluation is conducted during the learning event. What do the students like about the instruction? What do they not like? How do they think it could be improved? Level 2, learning evaluation. Most educators are already familiar with learning evaluations. This is knowledge tests, performance tests, or class projects. These all provide educators with data on what was learned, what knowledge, skills, or capabilities were gained. Level 3, behavior evaluation. This level can be difficult to execute if front-end analysis has not been accomplished. This evaluation requires observation of learner behavior after they leave the learning event and comparing this behavior to the pre-learning event behavior. Has behavior changed outside of the learning environment? Did the learner revert to past behaviors? This level of evaluation allows designers to determine if students' behavior changed just to pass the lesson or if learning actually occurred. Remember, you will need to know learner behavior before the learning event in order to effectively evaluate learner behavior. Level 4, results evaluation. This level is difficult to describe. In the business world, this is a change to the bottom line, success of a business, a return on investment. In the world of education, this is done through long-term behavior observation. The knowledge, skills, or capabilities gained through the learning event continue beyond the course or outside of the educational environment. Using evaluation, all levels of evaluation, instructional designers can measure the effectiveness of the instruction, instructional tools, and methods. As objectives, technology, content, really anything related to the learning experience changes, designers need these tools to ensure the effectiveness and relevance of the instruction. So far, we have discussed how HPT is currently used in instructional design and the potential applications of human performance technology in instructional design. So where do we go from here? Remember, HPT is an ongoing process, always examining processes for ways to improve human performance. As technology continues to advance and update, the methods and means of education, according to Binder, applying human performance technology practices to instructional design methods will ensure instruction remains relevant and effective. Technological advances are changing many elements of the learning experience, such as the ways to deliver learning, the content of the learning, the student demographics, and even the instructor demographics. Instructional designers need ways to ensure their instruction responds to these changes. We should encourage and participate in research that continues to measure the effectiveness of using a complete HPT model with instructional design methods. Research should address the impact of complete integration of human performance technology with instructional design. Also, research should examine if instructional design updates in a more timely fashion when HPT practices are used versus instructional design without HPT. The rate of change is so fast with technology, designers need tools to help them respond. HPT may be that tool, and we need research to confirm this and justify complete integration of human performance technology with instructional design. This research will enable instructional designers to make informed decisions when determining whether or not to utilize HPT in their design practices. Today we talked about human performance technology, HPT, as an effective tool in instructional design. We defined HPT and discussed the different steps or phases of HPT. Then we applied HPT to instructional design, and we looked at where we are, how application of front-end analysis aids designers by providing information about the learners and the learning environment in order to design and deliver the most effective learning experience. We talked about where we could be, how complete integration of HPT in instructional design would include different levels of constant evaluation. This ensures the learning experience remains effective and relevant. Then we discussed where we could go from here. We talked about considering research of HPT practices in instructional design and how that will provide information on the impact of instructional design using HPT. If HPT practices improve the rate or timeliness of instructional changes as it responds to technological advances. I would like to thank you for your time and attention today. Good luck to everyone in their future endeavors and have a wonderful day.